So I'd love to know if you guys are feeling that buzz from the cuvee coffee. Let me hear you say, oot, oot.
If you've ever been in love, let me hear you say, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you guys have probably heard that African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And we'd like to suggest one more layer to this. If you want to go deep, grow together.
We're excited to share with you how we've grown together in love and business this past decade. We'll give you a glimpse into our colorful life, both the light and the dark, and what we've learned in the process of being committed as partners to our creativity and to our company. So, who are we? I am an Austin native, whoop whoop. I'm a costume designer, a circus performer, and also a video and event producer. I loved playing dress up as a child, and as an adult, I still love playing dress up. I've created experiences and performed for clients like Cirque du Soleil, Austin City Limits, and Apple.
I'm a filmmaker that actually ran away with the circus, thanks to this one over here. And I was always that kid with a camera. This is actually a photo of me filming the school play. That's actually a fake camera that I made with a shoebox and like tinfoil. And I went from making movies with my friends in the neighborhood to shooting for networks like the Discovery Channel and HBO and MTV. I was lucky enough to film closely with some celebrities, including my hero, Jim Carrey, and President Obama, and it was a dream, like Olympic gold medalists and rock stars, you name it. But it was at this point that I had a very promising career in primetime TV, but I was also seeking deeper meaning in my work. At that point, I followed the music into the woods, literally, and I discovered something and someone that would change my life forever.
That would be me.
So it was this interactive circus gathering that was co-founded by Kelly and some of her other friends.
There was no separation between performer and audience. We wanted to rope in everyone to participate in circus arts, learn, and share.
Yeah, I remember at the time, I desperately needed play back in my life. And the first moment that I arrived at this spectacular little gathering, I ran up to this girl who was holding this small camcorder and was like, hey, watch this, look at me. And I did a backflip and landed it, and I was like, yeah, that takes commitment to do a backflip. And she had her camera, and she just kind of went, meh, and kept on panning.
I honestly wasn't that impressed. But the next week, he brought his big television camera, and then I was impressed.
Yeah, I remember that next time, I just couldn't stop filming her. I was clearly very drawn. And then finally she ran up to me and kind of like very flippantly said,
oh, you're a filmmaker. You should come with me to South America and make documentaries for nonprofits. Okay, bye.
Go to South America and make documentaries for nonprofits? That sounds amazing. But then she hopped on a bus to Burning Man. And I was like, I think I need to go to Burning Man. And I fulfilled a lifelong dream and ran away with the circus. So long story short, after about 2 months on the road, touring festivals with Kelly and her circus group, on the way home, she gave me this ultimatum.
I'm leaving for South America in 2 weeks. I may never come back. Now's your chance. Come with me or not.
And in 2 weeks, I quit my job. I got rid of my house. I got rid of my car, my dog, pretty much everything I owned. And I jumped on a plane to South America with this wildly creative woman that I was falling in love with. Some people thought I was crazy. We even merged our bank accounts.
He was in deep.
I was in real deep. But, it could have been the worst decision of my life.
But it was the best decision of his life.
It was definitely the best decision of my life. So our takeaway here is say yes. There are times in life that we're called to take a leap. You've heard take a leap, and the net will appear, but that assumes failure. So we like to say, take a leap and the acrobat will appear. If you dare to swing on that trapeze, on the other side, you'll find that collaborator that will just take you by the hands and pull you toward new, playful possibilities.
So we were in South America for 7 months, volunteering with orphanages, creating films for nonprofits, performing circus arts, and we stayed anywhere that would host us, disaster relief organizations, eco-villages, and even with an indigenous family for 6 weeks in the deep Amazon jungle. It was amazing, but so challenging at the same time. Historically, in relationships, I always had a tendency to bail anytime things were no longer easy. And in this situation, I was stuck with him.
Sorry.
I couldn't get away. It forced me to confront my old patterns and also explore deeper what it means to be in a relationship, stay committed, work through differences, and compromise. We were together literally 24/7 for the first 9 months of our relationship. Travel is a great crucible for any couple to develop the grit to work things through. And in this situation, it challenged us, but it ultimately strengthened us.
Yeah, that's right. And so our takeaway here on our trip to South America was just to have grit and don't quit. There would have been a lot of times very early on where we could have, and we didn't. Then we came home.
And we decided to create a business blending all of our passions. And we have a lot, from circus arts to stilt walking, dancing, stage hypnosis shows, juggling, and magic, to creating films about social good, mindfulness, and outdoor exploration. We wanted to create a company that we're able to do everything we loved as an expression of our creativity.
Yeah, we really wanted to illuminate the positive and produce meaningful media and experiences. And so we make video for major movements that help launch them, as well as immersive entertainment at flagship events. And so to us, Circus Picnic, we like to say we create and capture magical moments. So to us, circus really just stands for spectacle, that which draws your eye and brings you in. And picnic is that deeper nourishment that we're seeking to share through both our content and our experiences. And we try to do as much as we can heart-centered storytelling in the videos we do, and we also create these playful zones at events, and which I love. We actually have large, long games, but it's also accented by these colorful characters that inspire a sense of wonder, and they come up to you and kind of get you to drop your guard, and then ideally get you to have more authentic connections with others around you.
When you try to explain to new people what it is that we do, we often get the response, well, what do you really do, to make money? And we say, this is what we actually do for a living.
We started by living and working in an RV together. So travel wasn't enough. We also wanted to live in a crammed little space as two artists. So this is me at my fancy stand-up desk editing suite, which is really just a laptop on like a laundry hamper on top of Kelly's sewing studio.
On top of an ironing board.
Yeah, and so, it was at that point that things were very humbling, because when she had to make stilt pants, they stretched all the way from the bedroom clear to the kitchen.
So our takeaway is start small, wherever you're at. You don't have to wait for X amount in your bank account, and you don't need to have all the stars to be aligned. Just take the first step.
Yeah, and to us, it was never about like trying to make a profitable business. First and foremost, success to us meant truly living our art. It's all about living your art. And we believe that if you integrate that into everything you do, that's where the real fulfillment comes.
From turning my grandma's car into the art car, Joyride, her name is Joy, to creating a community of filmmakers called the Magic Hour that meet during happy hour and film during the best light, to organizing parades like the Valentine's Day Love Brigade, just for fun. Everything we do seeks to be an expression of what we love. So when it came time to our wedding, I committed to making my own wedding dress, which was a 4-month process. Mind you, I had never made a formal dress before in my life. This was a complete experiment, and I learned everything as I went. It was a costume wedding, and all of our family and friends came dressed to the nines.
Yeah, I remember my dad actually wore a kimono, and my mom was dressed as Snow White. It was themed a Funkadelic fairy tale, and it was the best day of our life. The thing I love about a wedding is that you're just surrounded by this community that ultimately pledges to be your accountability support. They're your accountability partners. You're not just standing in front of the other and declaring your vows of commitment to one another. You're also held by that promise of your community that says, I'm going to stand by you. And I believe it's the same thing with our creative pursuits. If we're willing to be bold enough to declare our vision publicly like that and ask for support that we need, that's when we see the support we need and the accountability from other collaborators, from a Kickstarter community, etc.
So these are the accountability partners from our wedding. And our takeaway is find your accountability partners, the people that are going to be your champion when your commitment starts to waver. And also declare your mission publicly. This is our full-time team. We are accountable to these people every single day. We often get asked the question, how do you pull it off? You know, work together full-time without strangling each other? I like to call it the work-life balance lie. I believe if you are truly committed to what you're doing, you're going to eat, breathe, and be it. It takes devotion. It just so happens I do it with my husband. A lot of us have the tendency to compartmentalize every aspect of our lives, from work life to friend life to love life. But honestly, when you're in a committed partnership or pursuing a creative pursuit, it's nearly impossible to separate them.
Yeah, and so we like to create some solid ground rules around this whole thing. So what we've done is we've agreed to these safe zones in the house where we just don't discuss business. But, you know, it pretty much happens all the time anyway.
In the shower.
In bed before we're trying to go to sleep.
On the toilet.
It's true.
It happens.
It happens all the time. So one of our rules is no business in bed. So we're going to show you a quick little video. My 10-hour shoot today turned into a 16-hour shoot again.
Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. Yeah, my day was so busy, I forgot to eat lunch again.
Oh. Well, hopefully we can both get some rest. Good night. Can I go home now? So that's pretty much the reality in our house all the time. You just have to kind of accept that while you have rules, they're oftentimes going to be broken. But it's important to us that we strive for the health of our relationship to do the best we can to create that same structure in our love life that we have in our business to schedule meetings and such. Especially scheduling sacred time together and doing like the little things the little things that really count. We've got another video called 20 Ways to Say I Love You that can give you some ideas on that. That's on our website, circuspicnic.com. And so our takeaway is that it's all about striving for what Jeff Bezos calls a work-life harmony, not necessarily a work-life balance. It's not one or the other. It's how they interplay. And I think one of the coolest things that we've gotten to experience is like these really hard shoots where we go off and travel to this location, but it's a beautiful place, and then we get to actually enjoy this vacation together. So there really can be that harmony.
Truth be told, though, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. This was actually our engagement photo. So yes, it seems we're living the dream. We get to travel to exotic locations together, but it all came to a head in Oahu when we were camping on this beautiful beach watching the sunrise. If you were following along on social media, it would have seemed like we were living the dream. But honestly, this was the hardest day of our lives. We were seriously contemplating dissolving the company as the first troubleshooting step in saving our relationship. There was 3 fundamental problems that needed to be fixed.
The first fundamental problem that we ran into is we were both putting unfair pressure onto the other. And we really ultimately just weren't respecting the efforts that the other was making.
We liken our dynamic to Jefe juggling 3 balls. And he gets really excited about the shiny ball over here and grabs it and starts juggling, not realizing he's taking on too much. And then he tosses one back at me, and then another, and another.
And so I'm just thinking everything is great over here, and meanwhile, she's like, has 20 balls she's trying to juggle. They're tumbling all over the place, bouncing everywhere. And, I'm just thinking, like, gosh, it's time for us to grow, as if she's some sort of anchor that's holding us back.
And I felt like he was unfocused and all over the place, a hot air balloon drifting off into space. We weren't respecting each other's roles.
It wasn't until we got some perspective from our business coach who sat us down and had us just list out all of the tasks that we do. This would be a great thing for you to do if you're in a partnership, is to list out everything you do. And I'll tell you, it was really humbling for me when I was done with my list, I was done with my page, and saw that Kelly's list was like 5 times my amount. She had like 6 pages. And it made me realize that, it was time to have a lot more empathy for the effort that she was putting in but both sides, as our business coach said, are totally necessary. In a business, you need to be future focused. You need to focus on the growth, as well as sustaining and maintaining the business. Both are essential. And so once we came to learn and understand that that was true, we could respect each other's roles and move forward together in our shared vision.
So the takeaway is to respect the roles and contributions of others.
Especially not just others, but your partner.
Problem number 2, our vision was constantly evolving. It's like we were wandering through the woods of our creative careers. And it's hard when you have 2 people trying to blaze a trail, but you are trying to get somewhere and you don't agree on the destination. You're not going to get very far, and you're probably going to get blocked.
Yeah, we've all had that argument with the GPS. And let me tell you, you're not frustrated with your spouse. You're frustrated with Siri. And so put your anger there. A lot of lessons for me. And ultimately, it's about not focusing on the small things, the little things you would argue about. It's about getting clear on that big picture. And once you align on that vision, everything becomes better. So to us, our takeaway was a strong vision requires a clear decision. Commitment really to us is a choice. So when you find alignment and you act with devotion, it gives you direction.
The third fundamental problem was that about 6 years in, we received a cease and desist from another established organization for using our last name Greenheart in business. This emotionally was devastating and derailed us from pursuing our bigger vision for almost 2 years. We are facing either having to rebrand our company or face a major legal battle. Was this a sign that we should quit?
Or was it like this test of our perseverance? We were at this sort of T in the road, and we really needed direction moving forward. So we invited a trusted circle of members of our community to help us answer this question that just kept coming up. And it was a really hard one. Are we stronger together or separate?
And it was unanimous. Everyone said that we should stay together because that's what makes us stronger.
Yeah, they said stick it out and stick together. And that's what we did. And thus, Circus Picnic became our rebranded identity. And it's everything under one umbrella, but it also is kind of this nod to that circus that we met at and fell in love.
So the takeaway is setbacks happen. What matters is how you deal with those setbacks. Just because a limb falls on the path, maybe find another way around it.
Speaking of limbs,
we really went out on a limb on our latest project. The future of our company is creating originals like Mr. Greenheart's Treehouse, which is a TV show pilot. It's basically a Mr. Rogers for the modern era. It's to inspire kids and families to go outside and play and go on adventures together. We truly believe that in this digital, technological, saturated era, we need strong role models and a deeper connection with Earth and each other.
Yeah, that's right. And we found that once we truly committed to this idea that we had, the universe kind of met us halfway. And the first example of that was everyone loves our tree house. It's incredible. And I was racking my brain about how we would make a tree house, and then I got a call out of the blue from someone and they asked me, not knowing about the pilot, we're trying to make these videos for this treehouse resort, but we don't have much money, so I don't know if you might be willing to barter? And I said, I can think of the perfect barter. And thus, Cypress Valley Canopy Tours in Spicewood, Texas, actually right down the street from Cuvée Coffee, became the home of our show, Mr. Greenheart's Treehouse. We were supported by an incredible Kickstarter community, as well as all of these artists in Central Texas that rallied around us to make it, especially our family, too.
The takeaway is allow magic to happen.
So we realize that we're still just on the trailhead of our experience together as a couple. We've been together for about 10 years, but both sets of our grandparents, they were together for 70 years. And so we have a tradition on our wedding anniversaries. Each year, we tie a new knot in this rope to signify and celebrate another year of partnership together.
We have enough rope for 70 years to tie 70 knots if we are so lucky. This rope helps us maintain where we're at, our perspective. And
I realize that when I look at this rope, Kelly, we're still at just the very beginning. This is a photo of my grandparents on their 70th anniversary, and actually just 2 weeks before my grandmother passed away. Bob and Dot loved this quote: "How did we manage to stay together for 70 years? We were born in a time when if something was broken, we would fix it, not just throw it away." And so now we'd like to invite you to make a declaration of vows of sorts. But first, let's focus on what it is that we're willing to commit to.
what is deep inside of you waiting to be born? It could be a project, it could be a goal, it could be a partnership. I'd like to invite you to take a moment to think about it.
All right. Now that that commitment, that vision is in your heart, I'd like you to think about those accountability partners. Who are your champions? Who are those people that you've got to just tell about it and ask for their support? Think about them for a moment. Really do this. Yeah.
We would like to invite you to make this commitment today.
We, as your witnesses.
If you're already strong with your commitment, just consider this renewing your vows. All right, so repeat after us. I say yes to pursuing this calling.
I say yes to pursuing this calling. I clarify my vision.
I understand I may not be prepared.
I might be scared.
But I'll start with what I can.
I will try my best.
I will maintain grit when faced with setbacks.
And I'll appreciate those that help me on this journey.
I am ready for magic to happen. We now pronounce you
Freaking unstoppable!
Thank you, Creative Mornings, and may the life you live be your greatest work of art.
Thank you guys so much.